Hi folks, my name's Steve Coulson. I've been working for the Thistle Foundation for quite a while now, and one of the things we do at Thistle, one of the bits of work I enjoy most, is a process called the Big Plan, where we meet with a lot of young people with disabilities and their families, and plan for the future. One of the exercises that we do with the young people we call labels to badges, and I just wanted to talk a wee bit about that exercise and show you kind of how it goes, really, because I think it's something that actually says a lot about the big plan, and I think it says a lot about the way we try to work at Thistle as well. So I mean, you know, that idea of people having labels rather than products or clothes or things on the supermarket shelf. The idea that people can sometimes acquire labels as they go through their life. I just wanted to talk a wee bit about that to start off. Now, I could do that really by starting talking about some of my own labels. It's quite interesting. I think the older you get, the easier it is to think about some of these things. However, here's a few of the labels that you could say I have. One is that this is pretty obvious if you can see the picture, that I'm short-sighted and long-sighted. You know, I kind of need these glasses to be able to see things properly. I take them off and everything's a little bit more of a blur. So I need my glasses, but as I've got older, the joy has been, as well as being short-sighted, I've become long-sighted as well. So that's one of my labels. Another one which you might not be able to tell just from me chatting here is that I'm also asthmatic. Again, it's something that doesn't really cause me huge difficulties in my life, but I mean, I really do need my inhalers. I take a pink one in the morning and in the evening, and if I take that fairly kind of reliably, I don't need my blue one as much. Although actually recently I've been using the blue one as well quite a lot, but that really kind of clears my lungs. So I need my inhalers, but otherwise it doesn't hold me back too much. Another label that I have, which is one that I used to just say when I used to do this when I was a wee bit younger, I used to say, "Oh, I've got dodgy knees." I got quite a few injuries when I was a bit younger playing sport, and I still try to play cricket even at my age. But actually, I've now got a label for these dodgy knees, and the label is osteoarthritis. Not great. A wee bit sore, and it means I really need to wear a lot of kind of support if I'm doing anything too energetic. But again, doesn't stop me. But as I say, the other thing that is interesting about all this is just kind of the older that you get, the more of these kind of labels you accrue. For example, I've got one that sounds incredibly exotic, I think. I have a thing called Dupuytren's contracture. Sounds quite scary, actually, doesn't it? But actually what it means is, and this just happened to me a couple of years ago, I've got these funny little kind of nodules in the palms of both of my hands, and they just kind of appeared almost, it felt like overnight one time, and they're not sore, and they don't cause me any specific problems, though I believe that for some people who have this condition, it might eventually kind of pull their fingers in like that, and that can be really awkward and not particularly great. Also known as the Vikings disease, I believe, which was quite interesting. And it's the only thing that I'm pleased to say that I had in common with Margaret Thatcher. But anyway, so I've got Dupuytren's contracture. I actually went to the doctor to ask about it. I kind of self-diagnosed myself on the computer, but when I went to the doctor and asked, I think I maybe got Dupuytren's contracture, and he said, yeah, you have. And one of the reasons I went to the doctor was that my fingers had been really sore. And I said, "Oh, well, that's why my fingers are sore, isn't it, doctor?" He said, no, that's osteoarthritis in your fingers. So there's another one that I've got. So these kind of labels that I've got, they don't stop me living my life, but they're also kind of quite a funny way to introduce myself to people, But when I think of it, and the work that I do, and the work that we all do at Thistle, a lot of the people that we support actually have much heavier labels than some of the ones that I've talked about, and whether they are labels of learning disability or cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or mental illness, schizophrenia, um, you know, all of these kind of chronic health conditions. All of these labels can weigh quite heavily on people. And just as I described my own labels, all these things are true. You know, if somebody has cerebral palsy, they have cerebral palsy. If I have osteoarthritis, I have osteoarthritis. So it's a true thing, and it maybe also points to areas where we all need a bit of support and help, or a greater degree of support or help, depending on the nature of the disability or health condition we have. However, they only tell us a tiny fraction about who we really are as people. And I think what we say to the young people when we're doing the big plan together is, well, really, labels tell us something about you, but they don't tell us the most important things about you. And actually, we say, in terms of us working together, here's what we think of the labels. They're not that important in terms of how we work together and how we think about the kind of lives we'd all like to live together. And we invite people to think, well, actually, instead of thinking about labels, why don't we think about the badges that we'd all be proud to wear, the badges that make us smile and make us really feel that they say something about who we really are as people. And so, for example, again, if I can give my own example, what I would talk about is, like, I'm really proud to be a Jambo. So for anybody who's not from central Scotland, that means a Hearts supporter, which has been a bit of hard work this year, I must admit. But I mean, in a sense, that's part of the joy of it. I'm also a great big brother. When I first used to talk about this, I used to say I was a big brother. But then when I thought about it, my sister keeps telling me that, my wee sister. So I'm gonna take that badge and I'm gonna wear that proudly. And if I think about some other things, it's maybe a bit hard to think of it this way, but actually, I like writing. I like writing about my work and like writing about my passion for social justice and working with people to have good lives. And I think I'm a writer worth reading. As a Scot, it feels a bit hard to say that, but I think that's a badge I would be proud of. And I also think that I'm somebody who can inspire people by the way I talk and tell stories, and I'd like to think that I'm an inspiring speaker. So those badges, I think, are ones that we could all think about, and actually if we all thought about them for ourselves, for the people in our families alongside us, I think they're a much better starting point than the labels. And I think if you think about how so often in our society the way people are introduced to each other, particularly when they're looking for a bit of support and help in their life, is in terms of those deficits, is in terms of those labels, the things they can't do, the thing they need help with, the things they struggle with. And we think a much better way to connect up with the wider world, to be able to flourish and grow and really to have your own well-being really kind of nourished, is to be introduced by your badges. What are the things that that you're passionate about, that you're interested in, that give you joy and make you feel really fulfilled? These are the things that really matter, and these are the things that are the key to people really contributing and being involved in their wider community. So the labels to badges exercise for me is a kind of pivotal way of just expressing, I think, what is so dear to us at Thistle, that what is really most important in working with people is what are their gifts, what are their strengths, what in their heart of hearts really matters to them, because those are the things that help people to really be themselves and have the best lives they possibly can. Anyway, thanks for listening.